We have done the part one introduction, the part two introduction. The part three is not really an introduction anymore because we've started going into some technical stuff. So we talked about proxies, file handling, how to manage timelines so that we are able to like process files well. Then we now went into sound design, how to use the Fairlight page to further enhance our audios. We talked about advanced sound design. Now, basically, we have done some things that we'll start using. But before we go into trying to do edits proper, what we are now going to do today is we are going to touch the color page today. So
Okay.
yeah, we are going to move from. I know you've been shooting normal rec 709, but I want you to. I'm going to explain picture profiles. I'm going to explain picture profiles. I know your camera is Sony, so I'm going to explain the Sony picture profiles and some other picture profiles so that they will make sense. Because I also know you have an iPhone, and there are times when you want to maybe shoot videos with just your phone, then probably edit. All right, so we'll talk about picture profiles. Let me load in. Okay, extend this a little. All right. So let me just get rid of. Let me look for a fresh timeline. Okay, let's use this one. This one is a clean timeline. All right. So have I shown you how to switch?
Change the format, switch it
Yeah,
to
change
like,
your
yeah,
format.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
you did it in day one.
Okay, okay. All right. So let's look at picture profile. Now, picture profiles are different picture modes in your camera. We have some, like now the Apple devices can shoot A log. When you see A log, say Apple log, right? You see C log, that's for Canon. You see S log, that's for Sony. You see D log, that's for DJI, right? DJI Pocket, DJI, their action cameras and all of that that shoots in log. So, what exactly is log? Log is a kind of a flat picture profile. I know I'm using another word. What is flat? Someone want to ask what then is flat? So flat, when they say it's a flat picture profile, it means that the colors are desaturated. Like if you pay attention to this video now, the colors are desaturated. So flat flat videos are videos that do not have that are desaturated, they do not have contrast, and their highlights are mostly overexposed. Now when you're shooting s logs, right, when you're shooting at a flat picture profile, there's something called exposure compensation. Now I know we are supposed to talk about this when we are doing the whole camera setup, and like the previous classes, how to shoot with your digital camera. When you are trying to set up log, a lot of persons have issues when they are trying to shoot s log video, like, oh, they can't correct color grade it correctly, that when they try to shoot when they shoot that log and they try to color grade it, they have issues, right? Now I know I think I've mentioned this before, but one of the ways to balance your footage is to be able to read the histogram on your camera,
Hmm.
right? So when you look at the histogram of your camera and you want to balance the exposure correctly, because when you're shooting log, you have to overexpose, most times by one or two stops. Now, what do I mean by one or two stops? You're going to see on your camera, you're going to see something like mm 2 point something, 1 point something, or minus. Now when it's minus, it means that it is underexposed.
Okay.
Yeah. So when it's plus, it means that it is overexposed. Now, not that the entire image is overexposed, right? This is why you now use your zebra settings. Now, your zebras are going to highlight the points that are overexposed in your image. So when you see some points that are now, your background might be blown out, you would want to use your zebra settings to adjust it. Like when you see that, um, I don't know if I'll be able to. Okay, what's going to happen is we are going to hold another class for camera again so that I can show you these advanced things. I can show you zebra settings because I don't remember showing you zebra settings and how zebra settings work. I don't think
Okay, so
yeah.
zebra settings should be turned on in the camera,
Yeah, your zebra
like
settings
zebra
need to,
display.
yes, it needs to be turned on. That zebra display now will now show you lines, like it will highlight the points that are overexposed on your camera.
Okay.
Yeah, so
And
would
is there like something that is supposed to be like
a settings, yeah,
the
a number, a certain number.
yeah.
So when we have that particular class, I'm going to show you the numbers that are good, right? Or what
Okay.
I'm just going to do, I'm just going to share a video to you because it's not much. I'm just going to share a video with you that talks about zebra settings and the good numbers that you would use to set your zebras. Is that okay?
Okay.
Now the reason why I'm mentioning this is because if you do not, for color grading, if you do not set your camera in pre-production, if you don't set it rightly, you may not be able to fix it up in post editing. Even when you're doing your color correction, then you now move to your color grading, right? So we
So
want,
basically, the should be somewhere around zero, or should be somewhere around
should
plus
be
or
somewhere
minus.
around zero. Now this is not always the case, depending on the kind of shot you are doing. Yeah, sometimes you want to shoot some darker scenes, and obviously it will be around zero and it will be falling down to minus some of the time. But if you're going to do talking head videos like this, you want like every part of your body to be well lit, right? It should be around, for let's say, for like right now, if you look at my camera, my highlights are overblown. Like my, if you look at the what is going on, like what, I didn't do any settings, the whole house is scattered, right? So now when I'm looking at my histogram, I can see that, oh, a part of it, the peak is too high far to the right, right? It's high far to the right. That means I'll have to dial down my ISO. You understand? So
Okay.
dialing down my ISO is going to reduce um, the exposure. Remember the exposure triangle that we talked about?
Yes.
Yeah. So I can decide to dial down my ISO or my aperture and bring it down some more. Yeah. So I think something like this is a bit better. Okay. Now we are talking about the picture profiles. If you, there is S log one, S log two, right? I think for Apple log they have Apple log, then Apple log two. I don't know if they have Apple log three. Now these, some of these things are going to make sense when we start doing, like when we now jump into Davinci Resolve. But let me just talk about them theoretically. Now these log profiles have, now you may want to ask, why will I shoot in log? Why will I shoot at a flat profile when it's going to now give me a lot of work to color transform, color correct, and color grade? You understand? So we are color transforming, we are color correcting, and we are now color grading. You get? So the answer is, if you want to have richer tones, it's like when we talk about you're shooting with your normal camera and you're shooting with a camera that enables you pro controls, when you can control the highlight, you can control your f-stop and all those things that your normal default camera will not allow you control. So that's how a log profile is. A log profile will enable you have manual controls over your colors, all right, over your highlights, because it holds more information than a Rec 709 footage. A Rec 709 footage is when you just bring out your camera, no picture profile, all the colors are there, you just start shooting. That's a Rec 709. In fact, every mobile phone shoot at shoot Rec 709. Not all shoot at log, but all shoot at Rec 709. Then we consume content at Rec 709. That is why even though when you shoot at log, you would have to color transform it to Rec 709 to be now able to enjoy the colors.
Yeah.
You understand? So log gives you, it affords you the ability to, tweak your highlights, tweak your colors in so much way that a Rec 709 footage will not allow. If you try to do some of the things we are doing on the log footage on Rec 709, it will break the footage. What do I mean by breaking the footage? Either the colors are breaking, you start noticing that the browns are not flowing seamlessly. You start seeing, when you look at the sky, you see choppy, it will be grainy and choppy. You understand? So that's what it means by breaking your footage. The colors will not be seamless, it will not be fluid. You understand?
What
So
causes those lines that appear in images sometimes? Like you're
banding.
shooting and then all of a sudden I see all of those flowing lines.
Okay, banding. Now, so one of the culprits for banding is, one, you did not you did not set your what are they calling it, the exposure triangle correctly. Your ISO, your highlights, your ISO, your aperture, and your shutter speed. If you don't set it rightly, now if you're shooting with an 8-bit camera, you will get some level of banding. But for a 10-bit camera, you won't get much banding except you don't know what you're doing. Except you don't know how to set this exposure triangle correctly. You don't know how to compensate for exposure compensation and all of that. If you don't know how to do that, you're definitely going to get banding. You understand? But banding, it happens frequently in 8-bit cameras. Now let's say you're using an 8-bit camera and you're shooting S-Log3. You're shooting an S-Log3 that has much details, where you can do the cinematic color grading and all of those things. If you shoot at a wrong picture profile for an 8-bit camera and you do not know how to set it correctly, you will definitely have banding. You can't escape it. You understand? But that's why they advise people, if you have a 10-bit camera, shoot S-Log3.
Okay.
Because your camera can handle it, it can interpret colors. So that banding, all right, for an 8-bit camera now, an 8-bit camera doesn't cover most regions, all right, for colors. Okay, so since it doesn't cover most regions, when you're now consuming the image, there are some places that will be sharp. That banding is like sharp transitioning. It's not smooth. But whereas for a 10-bit camera, let me just show you like the difference between an 8-bit and 10-bit. Just give me a second.
Is it on the color wheel?
Not really a colorway, but it's going to show you like a spectrum.
Okay.
So we have 10-bit, 12-bit, 16-bit, 24-bit, just like that. Now, it's saying that the main difference is the number of available colors, just like I've said, right? So 8-bit, because the reason why I'm searching is because I don't have this figure in my head. So 8-bit color provides 16.7 million colors, while 10-bit covers over 1 billion. So since the strength of the 10-bit, it covers more region of colors, because especially if you go outside, you look at the cloud, there's something called a gradient field. Nature is actually gradient. We don't have solid colors in nature because of what? Lights and shadows. So you're going to see some places that are darker, some places the same blue, but the blue has regions that is lighter, has regions that is darker, and all of that. That's how we perceive colors, all right, in nature. So that means a 10-bit footage processes colors in a more natural way because its gradient will be smooth, whereas 8 bit, 6 bit, and 4 bit, it will be choppy, it will be blocky because it cannot fill all those places in the pixel. You know, now we have pixels are little little blocks that forms up the resolution. Yeah, yeah. So because of 8 bit, the colors are limited. We are not able to get, a smoother transitioning of these boxes because of some things are missing. It will not be. It will try to like fill it up. So let's say, for example, now for to interpret a color, we need 60% deep blue. We need 30% light blue and 10% white. Now, for 10 bit can carry all the different shades and blend them accurately, blend them seamlessly. But for 8 bit now, it will now repeat some colors. So if it doesn't have some shades of that deep, it's going to repeat with the ones that it has to fill up those blocks. So that's why it's not smooth. I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah, I guess.
Awesome. So that's just the major difference. If you search up videos, they are going to show you like the colors. It's all about colors when it comes to 8-bit. Okay. So let's proceed. Now, so we have S-log1. How you are going to overexpose, all right, for S-log1. How you're going to do exposure compensation for S-log1 is different from how you're going to do for S-log2 and S-log3. S-log3, now if you switch your color profile, some will stop at 500. You can't go below, for your ISO, you can't go below 500. You understand? Some are fixed at 500. Now, since it's fixed at 500, it means that it has already overexposed. Okay, it has already created like more exposure, but you will have to push it to a point where you can now adjust it manually. All right, so we are now going to go into the color grading properly. So why did I spend much time talking about light, intensity of light? Is because light plays a major role in color grading. All right, it plays a major role in color grading. If you do not light your subject accurately, if you do not do your design accurately, you can't achieve much in post-production. Now, we may not be able to cover the entirety of color grading today because the color page is a lot, right? It's a new page. We need to look at some new things and all of that. So just know that we have entered this side. We'll finish it up. Then we'll now go into using everything that we've learned to start creating videos, start doing the edits. All right. So now, for best practice, the way I color grade on adjustment layers. Okay, so I color grade on adjustment layers. Sometimes when you shoot footage, now I know I've mentioned this before, but let me repeat myself. When you are shooting videos, right, and you are changing location and you're changing settings of your lights and your camera, the color grading that you would use would not be the same. You can only use the same color grade and not tweak it when the light, the position of the light, the intensity of the light, the position of the camera, the settings of the camera is the same. So that's why most times when people say, oh, I want lot. The question is, do you know the foundation of color grading? You don't just carry lot and slap on it and slap on your footage. Why? Because the settings of the person's camera is different. That lot you're using now, is it for S-log? Or is it for Reg 709? Is it for D-log? Is it for A-log? I don't know if you understand.
Yeah.
Alright. So I like adding adjustment clips. So how do you add adjustment clip? Just press Shift space, type adjustment clip, double click on it. It will give you this. Can you see this?
Yes.
This blue thing here. It's written adjustment clip. So this adjustment clip now you can stretch it. Now anything you're doing here will affect everything below it. You understand? Because it takes its own track. can move it.
Okay.
So everything under the adjustment clip will be affected. You can still carry out effects here on this adjustment clip, but not all effects can be placed on an adjustment clip. I don't know why. Maybe when they do an update, they'll be able to fix it where all the effects that you want to do will be translated to adjustment clip. For instance, you can't track you can't track a you can't track a point on an adjustment clip. It has to be on the footage itself.
Okay.
When we get to that point, I'm going to show you. So we are now going to go into the fourth page, which is the color page. Now this is where most persons run out from Davinci Resolve, because to them it is so complicated. Now when you go into your color page, you're going to see this, right? This is called a node.
Okay.
This is called a node. Now, depending on your layout settings, your video might be somewhere else, like where you're seeing when your playback might be somewhere else. Okay. Excuse me. So when you go into the color page, default, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see your primary color wheels. You're going to see scopes. Okay. You're going to see your scopes. Your scopes will be on parade. Now, what we are seeing here, the red, the green, and the blue, is called the RGB, right? The red, the green, and the blue. The red, green, and blue are the colors that makes up for all the colors that we consume. You understand? Both primary and secondary colors that we consume. You understand? Now, if you look at the top left corner, you're going to see gallery. You see gallery here. You see lots. You see media pool. You see clips. Now, when you click on gallery, you're going to see stills. You may not see power, right? But you're going to see stills and timeline. Now, your stills, what are your stills? If you right click on your image, if you come over this way and you right click on your image, you're going to see grab a still. So what's a still? A still is like a screenshot. Okay? But it's not just an ordinary screenshot. It's a screenshot. I just said screenshot. It's a screenshot that copies the property of a video. Now, if I do color grade now, okay, if I do color grade now and I want to save that my color grade, I'm going to use stills. The power window does the same thing, but now for stills only work on a project, like per project. So let's say I'm working on this video now and I want to use the color grading that I've done on different footage, but still on this project. Stills will only work for that. But power now, this is power, let me see the full name. This power grade now, this power grade enables you to translate your color grade across different projects. So if I open a new project and I've done my color grade, so now remember the way I'm teaching you is I'll teach you the foundation, then I'll teach you how I color grade. So when you know the foundation and you use my method of color grading, you don't need to color grade from scratch every time. All you just need to do is save it, then build on that existing structure. You understand? And the only thing that enable you do that is the power grade system. So to get power grade, you have to right click and do add power grade album. Have you done that?
Yes, that would create still two.
Yeah, that will create the two of them. Now, since you have done that, these ones now are my own power grades. So if you see, if I highlight this one, look at the color. If you look at the right side, you see the color that it's being displayed. If I go next, you see another kind of color. So all these things are not like lots.
Okay.
But the reason why they seem to work is because of I mostly shoot with the same S log 3, S log 3, S log 3. You understand? So we have this one. The reason why this one is like this is because this color grade is for Rec 709.
Okay.
This one is another color. You understand? Just like that. So I can choose anyone and begin to build from those ones. But I'm not going to choose anyone. We are going to build from scratch because I'm going to show you how I build. You understand? Now,
Yeah.
so we have looked at gallery. Lot is just as the name implies, right? For Davinci Resolve, there are default lots. You're going to see some lots. I have default lots. Then I also have like my own lots that I downloaded and installed, which you can have access to from the link in my bio from TikTok. You're able to get like some advanced premium lots that I have. So these are just lots. Now, the way these things work, you see how like if I click on this, I click on this one, anyone, it is changing, right? Now there is a pro way to apply lots. Okay, I'm going to show you the pro way to apply lots, but at the end of our color grading class, that's when I'm now going to show you, okay, this is how we apply lots. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Now, after lots, we have media pool. Media pool is just as the name implies, it's the video. All right, our media. So you can decide to click on any media, right, to work on. But what we are working on is from our timeline. Okay. See how I dragged this footage in here. This one is some advanced kind of stuff. We are not going to go into that yet. All right. So what we are now going to do, the next one is clips. If you click it, you're going to see the clips that you have on your timeline. Those clips are the videos that you have on your timeline. Okay.
Okay.
That's what will show on clips. If you duplicate the video, it's also going to show on clips. So let's say we drag this other video. Let's drag this one from our timeline and put it here. Go back to our color grading tab. You're going to see that it has appeared here. Then this is our adjustment clip. We have 2 adjustment clips. So it's going to show you everything you have on your timeline apart from audio. All the video clips that you have on your timeline is going to be represented here, plus their adjustment layers. So since we are color grading on an adjustment layer, we have to click our adjustment clip. So to know which one is which, it is good you name your adjustment clip. You understand? It is best practice that you name your adjustment clip. All right. So that's for clips. Now, this is just to color code, right? Color code our bin. Remember, we are at media pool, so let's go out from media pool and go back to gallery. Okay. This is to toggle it off and toggle it on. I think we've looked at some of those things before. Then these are memories, like things that we have done before. That this is to increase the size and to reduce the size of what is being displayed here, either our power grade or our media pool and all of that. So these settings are translate from like other page that we've looked at. So this one is file organization. We are currently using this. This one is the least way to look at your footage, your media pool, to arrange them. Okay, but me, I prefer this because I want to see what I'm working with. Understand? Now, on the other side, we have quick export, we have timeline. This timeline is very important. When you're color grading, you have to toggle this timeline on. So what does it do? When you click on it, you click on timeline, you're going to see your timeline represented here. So our
Yeah.
edit page timeline is represented here. So you're going to see your V1, V2, V3, V4, V5, all the tracks. Remember, these are tracks that you have on and their position. So when you color code them, if you color coded them, that this is why you need to color code, right? So let's say this one, let's color code this to orange, and let's color code this other one to violet. Then let's do this one to be green. All right, now let's go back to the color page. You see that the color codes are now showing. So you now know which is which. So for my adjustment layers, I color code my adjustment layers the colors that are the same with the video. So if I go to my edit page now and I'm only color grading this part, I want to match the color to this so that I know that this adjustment layer is for this clip.
Yeah.
You understand? Now there are other ways other people do. There's no right or wrong way to do it. You just need to do it in ways that you're able to remember what that thing is. Right? So let's go back. So we now know that this is our adjustment page, our adjustment clip on our track 2, V2. So I'm going to click on that. You understand? So that's what the timeline does. Now the node is where we carry out our color grading operation. Okay? The Davinci Resolve uses a node tree system for color grade and fusion. Even the fusion page is a node tree system. Now you see this point is input and this is output. You see that this line, you see this arrow, if I disconnect it, if I double click here or just delete this link, right? Any effect I put here, because this is where we are, this box holds our information for color correction, color grading, adjustments, and every other thing. If this thing is not connected to this output point here, it's not going to display out. We're not going to see it.
Okay.
Yeah. Now you may see that, okay, we have a green and we have a blue. This blue is called an alpha input or alpha output. Now, what is alpha? An alpha channel, right, is called a RGB, right? That's alpha alpha, the A stands for alpha, RGB, is that it can be able to hold transparency. So let's say you want to remove this guy now from the background, right? When you do that effect, because I'll still show you how to do that, because you might be using that a lot to put text behind you and all those things. Now when we go into editing, we are now going to now use all the things that we've learned to now create videos, you understand? But I'm just showing you the tools, how to do those things. Then when we now want to edit the videos, you now see how these things work. So you want to cut out this guy from the background. Since you're removing the background, you want to make it transparent, it has to have an alpha channel. So this channel now, this blue channel, is an alpha channel. But how do we now connect it? We'll now have to right click, go to add alpha output, and click on add alpha output. We can now link our alpha channel. But we only do this when we have done the whole cutting out of the background and all of that. All right, so let's proceed. So the next thing is effect. We'll be using this effect a lot, because this is where all the things that we're going to be doing is. All right, this one now you see resolve with effects. So here we do some level of VFX. We do some VFX here. This is where we are doing our color transformation, color correcting. If you have green screen, you can do this. You can edit green screens on the edit page. You can also do it on the fusion page. You can still do it on the color page. All right. The next thing is lightbox. So lightbox just shows you the like a bigger um, a bigger version of your footage that you have on your timeline.
Right.
All right, but you're not going to need this light box. Why? Because you can already access them here.
All right. Give me one sec. Let me give this process key.
All right. So we're going to be using the effect panel a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. Don't let all these plenty things confuse you. These are just different effects. Alright, these are just different effects. You have the resolve FX blur, FX color. So we'll be using this FX color because this is where we have our color space transformation. Okay, so for this FX color, we'll be using our color space transformation a lot. Right? There are some things here. I'm not going to lie. There are some things here that I have not used before. Okay, I've used the haze, I've used the spill, I've used I think I've used gamut mapping, I think I've used chromatic adaptation a lot. You are going to even use chromatic adaptation because it helps us to do white balance, right?
Mm.
I've not used color compressor before. I've not used compressor before. So there are some things I've not used. Now for this Resolve FX is where you can do box blur, directional blur. These are some of the things that you can also still do on the edit page. Some of these effects you can find them on the edit page. Right? So that's just some of the things that you can get here. You see video collage. So if you want to do video collage, you see it here. Transform, surface tracker, lens distortion, warper, and all. We're not going to go into
Come in now, come in.
we're not going to go into many of these things because they are just some of them are just visual effects which you can play with. You understand? You can play with it later on. So what we are now going to let's look at this other part. Now, do you have any questions so far?
No, no question so far. Open that place, you should see cash there. Try to buy detergent.
All right. So let's proceed then. Now we have this at this part where you can switch timelines. Remember I said that when you create multiple timelines you can switch timelines, but we're not switching timeline now. We have the size of the view. Why do I like calling this thing viewfinder? Alright, it's not viewfinder, please. Like this is where we look at our
Yeah,
playback.
I've noticed that this in my own Davinci does not stay one place. It always moves.
Yeah, it will move. It moves. Even mine moves.
Like mine, it doesn't have even on the edit page. I can't lock it
Um,
as you lock it.
lock as in
It
how?
always moves.
Mine is
Like you
moving.
can't, I can't lock it. No, that's not what I mean.
Okay.
Like the image itself. Yeah,
Okay.
it will be going out of this
The
framing.
reason why I think I showed you that before. Now let's go.
Ah,
Let's go to the
I,
edit page. You see this thing now?
I did that.
You see here this part. Right click.
Yes.
Click on this drop down. Okay.
Okay.
And what you did was you did the transform. You enable the transform, so it's moving. Are you seeing it?
Okay.
Yeah. So what you need to do is make sure you toggle off the transform.
Even with my transform toggled off, it will still move.
No, it won't move here if your transform is toggled off.
Mine is moving. I've done this thing over and over
Okay,
again.
this is what you're
I
going to
think it
do.
might be my mouse or
No, it's not
something.
your mouse. It's not your mouse. It's not your mouse. This is what you do, right? Click on something else. Click on, let's say, uh, open FX.
Annotations.
No, let it leave it at FX. Click
Open FX.
open FX overlay.
Okay.
Have you done that? Then try
Yes.
to click on the distance if it's going to move.
It's going to still move. It's
No,
moving.
what you are doing is you're holding your scroll wheel.
I don't have to do that. Once I just touch my mouse like this, it's moving.
What kind of mouse are you using?
It's an Apple mouse, so
Okay, so the Apple mouse doesn't have screw wheel, right?
yes, it
It's
doesn't.
your mouse. It's your mouse. So
Because I presume that
this is how it's
this is
moving,
what's the
right? It's
problem.
moving like
Like once
this.
I just touch it,
It's
once I
your
touch it, I know this mouse, the Apple mouse is a trackpad,
yeah.
not just only like. So if I move here, if I move on the left, the image begins to enlarge to the
Right.
right.
Yes. Yes.
If I,
So you need another mouse honestly because it's not
I'm gonna buy another mouse.
it's going to mess with your like editing
Yes,
experience.
so every time I'm going back to set to fit, set to fit.
All right. So it's your mouse. Okay. Let's proceed then.
I have another question here. When you lay an a footage above another footage,
Okay.
what takes preference on the display? The one above or the one
The one
beneath?
above.
Okay. Because I've been experiencing that. I've been trying everything to do to make the one beneath it take priority where it did not
No, you
work.
can't take priority because you are stacking, right? So if I put this here and I'm looking like a top down view, what I will see is the one on the
It's
top.
the one.
The only way I would see this is when I now toggle off that layer, that track. I will not be able to see what's going on
Okay.
below. But if I export my video, what we are now going to watch is what has been stacked, like
On top.
on top. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Now, there is a lot. Okay, there is a lot to unpack. You see all these things. The only thing that concerns you here is this one, where you are able to use guides. So if you want to do a 4x5 video, if you want to do 4x5, you can click on 4x5, right? And adjust the timeline. You now know that, oh, this is a 4x5 video. This is already a 9x16. We don't have a 16 by 9 because if you do a 16 by 9 it's going to show like, except you want to crop the layer, so it will just show you that, oh, this 16 by 9, if I export this footage for 16 by 9, this is the only area that will show.
That's for
You
sure.
understand? So these guides are very important. Then we now have rulers. Rulers are also very important. So we have the social media. This also it shows you social media. Then broadcast film, we are using default. So this is 1 by 3. This is for broadcast for films. We don't have. This is not what we are using because we didn't shoot open gate and any of those stuff. Then save guides. You will now see the save guides for extents. You see for action. Okay. You see for action. You see for title. Here you want to place your titles. Me, I like using center. So this crosshair that we have here now shows me where everything is centered to the to up, like vertically and horizontally centered, right? So the next thing I like turning on is my rulers. So from my rulers now, I can now create my guides by dragging from the rulers, and I have a guide. So let's say I want to place text in a particular region of my video. I'm now going to place it here, right? This is why we tell people to go and learn design, because if you know the basics of design, you're able to know how to you understand how to use guides a lot. So this is how I normally use my guides. I do it like this. Like this. So I know that anything below here is wrong. Then you can also use there are templates for social media. TikTok has its own template, right? IG has its own template. Different social media platforms have their own template because they have some certain icons on a video. Those parts you should not place you should not place key information along those lines. Are you with me? I want to start recording now. Okay, we're back up. So we're talking about guides. These guides are very really useful for when it comes to caption, placement of text. Before the network went off, before it went off, I was talking about that. There are templates. There are templates that exist out there, like TikTok template. What I mean by TikTok template is the template has where where comments, if you're consuming a video on TikTok, you see comments, you see where some information are displayed up, you see some other things here like reshare, your like, your comments and all those stuffs, right? So all those guides now, those templates are guides to help you in your placement, so you know where to place captions. Okay, you know where to place captions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all the templates for IG, for TikTok and some other social media platforms, and I'll upload it to my drive so that you'll be able to get access to it. So I was just reading a message that came in. So you'll be able to get access to them on my drive. So the guides are very, very important. It helps you for text placement. If you want to bring in other elements like 3D elements, you know where to place them on screen. Okay, so that's for that. Then this button here is for our proxy. So you can disable proxy, enable proxy, then prefer camera originals. This one is like the original footage. All right, original footage. Then this button is to bypass the color grade and fusion effect. Why do you need to bypass color grade and fusion effect? Sometimes if you're using a system that is not powerful, right, for you to get a playback, you may need to turn off color grade and fusion effect. Then you'll be able to get a smoother playback. Okay, now we are now at the tools. Okay, now this camera raw, we don't need it because we are not shooting raw. Our clip is not raw, so we're not going to see anything here. So the next thing we're going to get is color match. This color match, I don't use it, so we will not go into it. You can check other videos concerning it. Now, I like saying this, I am not a pro colorist. It is pro colorist that uses every single thing here. Me, I just go to the tools that I use to do my color grading. I do them and I leave. Right, that's why you see that some tools we are skipping them. I hope that makes sense. There's supposed to be like a chat function on this thing now, where you're able to chat and drop feedback. Yes, now there's a chat function, so you can drop a chat. You understand? There's a chat function where you can just drop a chat since the mic is echoing. Let me just drop a chat there. You'll be able to see it pop up in your end. Okay, so the next thing we're going to see here is our primaries. Now, like I said, we may not be able to cover everything because we need to go one after the other. Now, our primaries, you're going to see these wheels. We have 4 wheels. One is lift, one is gamma, one is gain, and one is offset. The way we control these wheels, you can either control them by color. As you're moving it to the red, you see what happens to the video. It becomes red. You move it here, it becomes purple. Move it to blue, it becomes blue. Move it to green, it becomes green, and so forth. Okay, so let us click it to the default. The same thing with the gamma, right? Same thing with the gamma. Now the question is, why is the gamma not affecting it the same way the lift is affecting it? I'm going to explain in a moment. Take this as highlights, midtones, and shadows. I don't know if you understand what I just said. So this lift, gamma, and gain are like highlights, midtones, and shadows. Why the offset? This offset is the entire. Wait, though. Am I sure? Yes. Wait. No, I think the lift is our entire, the lift or the offset. Let me just give me a second. Let me refresh. Okay, so look, the lift are just the dark tones. The lift is for shadows. The gamma is for midtones. Then the gain is for highlights. Why the offset is for everything. Let's go back. So lift, shadows, gamma, midtones, gain, highlights, then offset, everything. Okay, it's going to make sense when we now move to the color grading proper. All right, so another way to control this is you can target the colors. You can look for white to reduce the highlight, the whiteness, the brightness. Okay, now remember it's from the shadows, so reduce the brightness from the shadows. This one reduces the brightness from the midtones. Here reduces the brightness from where the highlights. Then this one doesn't have. Okay, now yeah, I think you have a question. Okay, makes sense. All right, so we now have red, green, blue for our shadows. So we can use this to drop down some red in the shadows, use it to drop down some greens in the shadows. Not just drop down, drop and increase. You can drop, you can increase. Now you see everything we are doing, you see what is happening on our scope. So as we are dropping it down, it shows you that the blue is going down. If we take it up, the blue is going up. We are going to go into to interpret these scopes in a moment. Now, what makes you color grade is that you are paying attention to this color grade properly. Is that you're paying attention to these scopes. This is the parade, right? We have the waveform. Okay, we have the histogram. We have the CI chromacity. Now, I don't use most of these things. The reason why I don't use most of these things is because I am, like I said, not a full-blown colorist. I just use the tools that works for me, which is parade. I use parade and I use vector scope. So vector scope and parade are the two things I use, right? Now we will go into that but much later, but just know that anything you do here affects the scope. The scope interprets our actions. Okay, the parade scope, it interprets our actions. Now there's another way. Remember I said that you can target the colors, right? You can target the colors. You can target the colors, and if you see here is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Here we have 1, 1, 1 because it's default. Here we have 25, 25, 25. Okay, that's the values. There's supposed to be another 25, but that 25 is accounting for this, the white side, but we don't have that for offset to make that a total of 100. Okay, now you can still adjust this by this slider. This slider now controls everything. I use this slider a lot. Okay, the slider controls the red, the blue, the green, and the blue. The same thing here. It controls everything: the white, the arrow, the red, the green, and the blue. Same thing here. Same thing here. So, any questions so far? Okay. Now, if you look up, you're going to see something like an eyedropper tool. This eyedrop tool now is for white balance. Okay, but it's not accurate, so I don't use this for white balance. You understand? I don't use it for white balance. Some persons use it, but I don't use it to do my white balance. When I would show you when we are not doing the proper color correction, because adjusting white balance is for color correction. Okay, but for now let's just go through some of these tools. Now you're going to see temperature. This white balance, you can just come and click it and you do auto white balance. For some persons, when they click auto white balance, it's good for them, but sometimes it's rubbish, like what it just did for us now. It's total rubbish. So let us go back to the default. So it doesn't always work, you understand? This white balance doesn't always work. Now temperature, remember we talked about color temperature. Color temperature moves from cool to warm. So cool to warm is red and blue, you understand? Red and blue. Then small movement, if you check the movement of our vector scope, you see that it is the reds and the blues that are moving in large sections. Okay, then we have our tint. Our tint goes from, you have a question?
So I just left it open because sometimes I'll just give feedback and then
Okay, makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Then our tint goes from green to magenta. Okay, that's our tint. Now this is very important, right? So if I'm going to show you a trick, like when we now go into color grading, I'll show you how we use greens to boost up our saturation, our color. So we are going to keep this at the default, which is 0. Contrast, remember, since we are working on log footage, that means we don't have contrast. It will look like the image is washed out. So we can either dial down, see it's washed out, or dial in some contrast. So we definitely need some contrast, but we are not going into color grading yet. I'm just showing you the tools that we're going to use. Then the pivot, this pivot now has a fixed number that when you want to use it, the fixed number, like it has like just the same way we have the formulas, almighty formulas, and all of that. So a sweet spot is to have it at 0.366. Wait, am I correct, or is it 361? I'll have to check. Just give me a second. Let me check one of my color grades. Then let me go to contrast. Go to contrast. Just give me a second. I think something was messed up. Yeah. This even works a little for my video, but let's go to contrast. Let's see. These settings. Yes, so it's correct. 0.366. So note down that number. That number should be noted down for your pivot, especially when you're adding contrast. You see how my notes are. So this is how I color grade. Everything I'm doing, all the effects, all right, are separated. This is my starting point. Remember our starting point. I'll go back so that you see it. So this is my first node. The way I color grade with noise reduction first, because I'm shooting indoors. I reduce noise. Then from noise, I go into our open CST. Okay, some persons do white balance first before they now go into their CST, right? Some persons do their white balancing first before they do their open CST, but I have my open CST here, right? I have open CST and closed CST. What is open CST? Open CST is still our color transform. Okay, I'm going to explain in detail why I color grade this way, but I'm just trying to show you. The reason why I did that is to show you the number. I need to check if this number is accurate. Okay, so let's go back. Ooh, okay. Let us go back. So that's the contrast and the pivot. Then the mid and detail is to increase the sharpness. All right, because see now is blurry. It's very blurry. So this can increase sharpness, but don't overdo all these things. Okay, let's take it back to the default. Then if you look at the bottom, you see color boost to boost the colors, but I don't boost colors this way. See, this kind of color grading is for It's for people this is what CapCut does, and you just come to CapCut to increase the sliders and they say it's color grading. No, it's not. It's definitely not. Okay, but we'll go into it proper. All right. We now have shadows. So this one, if you slide it down, it will make it thicker. It will reduce the light, right, in the shadows. Make the shadows deeper. If you increase the slider, it will make the shadows lighter. Okay. Leave that at 0. We have highlights. Now our highlight is just the same thing like the shadows. Highlights are the part that are more exposed. So if we increase it up to 100, we have more highlights. If you reduce it down, I use this a lot. I use this particular slider to reduce the highlights. Now you may want to ask me why. Remember I mentioned that when we are shooting log videos, we overexpose. Remember, we overexpose. So I use this highlight slider to reduce a bit my exposure. You understand? I will still do the offset, reduce the gain. I'm going to show you. You understand? When we go into it proper, I'm just showing you these tools, how they work, when you slide them, what they are doing and where they are targeting, before we now go into my own method of color grading. Now saturation is at 50. If you drop it down, it will be black and white, right? If you take it up, it will be more saturated. Now remember, our log footage is desaturated, so taking it up is like you are now bringing it back to Rec 709. Don't do this manually. We will use color transform to bring back the colors. We'll transform it to Rec 709. So let's leave it back at the default, which is 50. Then our hue is 50 also. We're going to leave it here. So leave it at 50. I don't use hue at all. Then we have a lumix. This lumix, I don't touch it, right? I don't touch it at all. I leave it at its default, which is 100. I leave it at its default, which is 100. Okay, so these are the tools here for primary wheels. Now primary wheels have this part for color wheels. It now has color bars. These color bars now, if you it's just like the opposite of the what are they calling it? It's just like the wheels, right? The reason why here has 1 is because we already have figure. If we do here to be 1, you see it's filled up. You understand? But this is not how we interpret colors. So the bars are showing you how the RGB values are supposed to be. You understand? So mainly where we do tweaking. You have a question? Okay. Where we do some tweaking when we want to do like to have rich colors is here. All right. When we get into this part, I'll show you how I utilize it. Okay. So the only thing I utilize. Sorry, you said? Sorry, I could not hear you. My mic, this thing went off.
I was saying, like, if the only thing you utilize is the gain.
Yeah, the only thing I utilize is the gain. Okay, this part is the gain. When I want to now use the color bars, is the gain. Now you see that everything is the same. You still see the color boost, the shadow, the highlight, the saturation, the hue, the lumix. You understand? So the only thing that just changed is that we now have bars here. So this button is to restore back to default. Okay, to restore to the default. Then we now have log. Log is like this color wheels, right? Primary. So call this log an advanced areas, but it affects more of a log footage than a Rec 709. You understand? Now the way Davinci Resolve works is Davinci Resolve have tools dedicated for your kind of videos. So I use both the primary and the log wheels. Okay, I will show you. It will look like it's the same thing, right? But you see that it doesn't affect, the effect is not as much. Are you seeing? See, for our primary wheels, if I do this, it's affecting the entire, see this red now, it's affecting our entire spectrum, our entire scope. Are you seeing it? Everything I do here affects our entire scope. But the log wheels, right, is more advanced. So what it does is, the regions that are already red, that's what it will affect. You get? So since now, remember, okay, see now what we now have: shadows, midtones, and highlights. So it didn't show us lift, gamma, and gain. If you come to the log wheel now, you now see shadow, midtone, and highlight. So it's affecting only the highlights. So this is where you now do, like, maybe there is too much blue on my head from the light, like the light has too much blue. I can now target the blue, right, and now put another color there. I don't know if you understand this part. I see this one is affecting only the highlights. If you look at our footage, you see, and you look at what are they calling it, our scope. Let me tell you now so that you understand. You see, from 1023, all right, down to 768, this place are our highlights. Like this place now, if it's here, it means that it's too bright, it's too much. Let me increase. Let's go to primary waves and let's bump this up. You see, it has gone to that point. It shows that our entire footage is covered with reds, so it is blown out. You understand? Now if you take it down, it will go down. This part now, from here to here, is shadow. You understand? Why from 256 to 640 is midtones. Now, to do proper color grading, all right, let's reset this. To do proper color grading, you would have to try to stretch your highlights and your shadows to be even. Okay, and one of the ways to do that is what I'm going to show you when we start color grading. That's when I will show you how to use what you're seeing here. Right now, our RGB values are within mid, like they are mid. So we now that want to color grade wants to stretch it, right, to have more regions to tweak, to play. You understand? So if we go to the log wheels, you see that the log is only affecting, when we say highlights, it's only affecting the regions that are highlights. So it's only the top part. You see, it's only the top part that is moving. Then the midtones, you see, it's affecting the middle part. It's the midtones. Then if you now go to shadows, it's the bottom part. I seen it. So it's targeting you. This is for advanced, color separation, color correction, and ultimately color grading. You understand? Why this offset now controls everything. You see how everything is moving. Okay. So let's reset the node grid. Then this one now is to reset everything. And click on it to just reset everything. So this is just for the primaries. A lot. This thing now does a lot. So we have our primary color wheel, primary color bar, primary log wheels. Okay. Then the next is HDR. Now HDR is for high definition, like resolution. You want to make your image have high resolution. You can now, it's almost the same thing. Now for high resolution, we have dark, shadow, and light. High resolution doesn't have like midtones like we have in our normal primary log wheels. So it is dark because high resolution has darker, richer tones. Like it's just like the difference between an OLED panel and an IPS or a VA panel for monitors. OLED panels are like they are high definition panels that have richer blacks. So you see our dark now is affecting areas that are totally blacked out. You understand? So these are to have richer tones. You understand? Put some blues in that darker spot. While shadows is almost the same thing. This is like almost the same thing like the, what are they calling it? The log wheels, right? But it affects more areas than the log wheels. But this one is all the areas that are shadows that is to affect. The light, the same thing. All the places that are light. You understand? But it covers a higher region than the log wheel. I have global. Global is everything. It's everything. So to see the things that is affecting, always pay attention to your scopes. Always look at your vector scope when you're adjusting things. Now there's something I forgot to mention. Okay, something I forgot to mention. When you go to log, no, it's in HDR. When you come in HDR, you're going to see another wheel here where you can do your warm or your temperature. You understand? So Davinci Resolve has, like I know I've said this before, Davinci Resolve, there are some tools that are repeated across other tools. So that thing that you want to do with this tool, there's another tool that can do it better. So instead of adjusting temperature here with this slider, it is better you come to your HDR to adjust your temperature. You see the way it's not too much. You understand? So it's better you adjust your temperature here. Okay, let's proceed. I think today we'll stop at what are they calling it? We'll stop at this HDR. We'll skip after this HDR. I'll just skip to how to use Magic Max, AI Magic Max. Then we'll stop for there today. Then we'll continue another time. We'll now look at some of all these things. All right. I don't use RGB mixer. RGB mixer now, it affects the colors in one type of way. So I don't use this at all. There's RGB mixer at all. I use this, but I don't use it here. Okay. I'm going to show you how this one now is. This motion effect is to reduce noise. Okay, there are certain numbers, there are some figures, all right, that you use. I'm going to show you how to use this to reduce noise in your footage. This is for noise. Some other things. So let's just finish the HDR, then we'll go to the Magic Max. All right. So this affects the shadows. We now have a view that makes it lighter or darker. So lighter or darker, the same thing. It has wheels, just like the log wheel. Okay, this is to increase the red. Right. So majority of the time is just to leave those things as is. Right. It's only when you want to like correct some certain areas of your footage, maybe there is a spill of red somewhere, you can now target it and reduce it. So here is like the exposure. You see it here, like the exposure. So this one controls the exposure for the shadows. This controls the exposure for the darks. So if a dark region is too exposed, you want it to be darker, you can target it. This gives you like a higher definition for your images. Then this is saturation, to make it more saturated, to make it desaturated, the same thing. So this targets dark, shadow, and light. You understand? Then we have our X axis and our Y axis. I don't use any of these stuffs. I only use the wheels, or the slider, sorry, not wheels. Okay, let's reset this and let's move over to AI Magic Max. Do you have any questions so far? Awesome. Okay, so let's proceed. Now, personally, this is where I cut out my image from my background. Okay, what you need to do is make sure this is selected. Okay, our AI magic marks. We have this is to all these functions now is frames for our frames, to go to fresh frame, to go to the last frame. But now we've not done anything, we've not rendered these, we've not tracked our frames. So now we have, for here we have brushes. This is to pick a point, to click a point. This is to unclick a point. This is to add brush, but you can't add a brush until you have selected a point. So how do you select a point? You click on this plus. There is faster, there is better. Now you use faster for when you want to select things, not people. Things that have definite shape, like shapes, like all these things in your shot. Like I want to select this, I can use faster. You understand? For objects, you use faster. For people, use better. You can still use better for objects. You understand? But object, if you're using better, it means that it will use more system resources to try to like cut out your image. So let's see faster. Faster, now you cannot refine your selection. So once I click on plus and I select, nothing happens. The reason why nothing happens is because I need to toggle this layer on. This layer is to show me what has been selected. So you now see I've selected my head, selected my body, understand, selected my chair. So the parts that are covered with red shows you the parts that have been selected. Is that okay? So you can add much points as much as you want to. But you see, as we're using faster, it's not smooth. You see, it's not, the selection is not really smooth. Okay, so all these functions that you have here, all these things that you have here, is to help clean up your selection. So if we do grow, it means that once I click a particular place, the rate at which this thing, the places where it's going to be selected, will be much. You understand? If I click opening, the same thing. So all these ways are ways to refine our selection, right? You can click on radius, increase the slider, increase the smoothing, increase the blur radius. Now the moment you are doing this, pay attention to your selection. Okay, always pay attention to your selection. Let me reset this and let's do it again. Let's select again. Okay, so you see the radius, it will increase the point that is being selected. Let's delete, let's reset this and let's use a larger radius so that you'll be able to see. So we're using 4 points. So when I click on it, are you seeing the radius increases, the range increases where it's selecting, it increases. So that's for radius. Smoothing now is because since we are using since we are selecting human, we want it to be smooth. So you can add smoothing and it will smoothen the selection. It will not be hard. You can only leave the hard when it's for objects, because they have like hard surfaces, hard lines and all of that. But since you are selecting human, right, you have to increase the smoothing. Then blur radius is going to make the edges a little bit blurry. It's going to feather the edges, right? Clean black, these are just ways to, you see, as I'm increasing the clean black, it is reducing the area that has been selected. So all these things is you use your eye to gauge. As you're doing it, you're using your eye to see, okay, where and where has been selected. Do you have a question?
Most of my questions are going not on my side.
Sorry, I can't hear you clearly.
Just this. Can you hear me better?
No, still struggling.
I said most of my questions are going
Ah,
just right now, just listen.
man, I can't hear clearly at all. It's so low. Okay, awesome. You're not using your system. Okay. No problem. No problem. So some of all these things you just have to tinker with them as you're adjusting them. You're looking at what is going on. So all these things here are different tools to help you have a smoother selection. So sometimes you just need to eyeball it, like look at it to see, okay, is it selecting, is it helping my selection? As I slide it, is it helping my selection and all of that? That's what it does. Then personally I like using better, because better gives me a better, just as the name implies, a better selection. But for better now, I'm able to do my smart refine. So this one, the AI is going to assist me to refine my selection. I saying one click select a larger place. You understand? This one is more smoother. This one, if you want to select hair and complex selection, you always use better. For complex selection, always use better. But you can still, smoothen it to get it. Use all these sliders to get like a proper selection. So now, if you look at this point, these points are the clicks that you have made. All these clicks, 1 2 3 4 5 6, is what is showing here. So you can delete some points if you don't want them, right? Then after we have selected these stuffs, this part now is to invert the mask. Let's say it's my background I want to select, not my subject. I just go and invert the marks. I need to select the background instead of my subject. You see how good the selection is. Now most times you can use this invert to spot places that are not properly selected. You understand? So I want to select the chair where I'm seated. I want to select the chair. So let's check this again. Yes, but this part is not properly selected. Okay, now any part that is not properly selected, right, you can now click on our brush and paint it. Now the downside of this brush is that this brush only works frame by frame, and I'm going to show you what it means. This part is a more like tedious work to use this brush, because it's like you're manually selecting. You get manually selecting regions that wasn't selected previously. So that's the brush. You can increase the size if you want to. You can increase the size by coming here. You see the size is increasing. Then to remove, you just go to minus. Let's say you make some mistakes, you just use the brush to remove those areas. So let's check our selection. Okay, our selection is really good. Okay, so now what we will now do is we will track forward and backward. The reason why we track forward and backward is, if you check your playhead, see your playhead now, right? If your playhead is here, this is where you started selecting with your magic marks. You have to track forward and backward. But since we started at the very first point of the video, we don't need to track forward and backward. What we need to do is to what? Track forward. So when we track forward now, this our playhead is going to move forward. So what we are now going to do, I want to reduce the length of this video, okay, so that we don't waste too much time here. So I'll cut this down, then I'll go back to my my video, then select it. Then I'm not going to do track forward. Now it's tracking. So what is the tracking forward now is moving into time through the entirety of the video to track everything. You see how the selection is still here. You get. Now, when as he's tracking, pay attention to the places that are not properly selected, because we have to go back to, like, work on our selection. Understand? So let's stop it for now. Let's now go back. If you come to this part, you see that it didn't select the chair, the remaining part of the chair. So we are now going to look for that frame, the frame where the chair was not selected. So this is where I like using to go frame by frame, because this moves from one frame to another. So from this frame here, this is where our chair wasn't selected anymore. I'm now going to add the selection. You understand? Add the selection. You see that here has now become red. It means all the tracking that was done has gone off. I'm now going to retrack forward again. So it has now carried the new information, the new tracking, and it's moving. So we see that even when we now move forward again in time, it still did not track the chair. So we are now going to add the places that wasn't tracked properly. What's this? What is going on? This thing is now misbehaving. Sorry, you said?
I think at one point you might have highlighted the background.
Yeah. So let's just use faster and do it. So when you track, don't just think that, you are going to have like a good selection. You understand? So what we normally do, let's say for instance you want to put text behind the subject. This is a way to do it. I'm going to show you like the advanced method, but this is just like showing you how the tool that is used to do that. Now we track. Let's track forward. You see that some places are not selected. You go back, you retrack, you go back, you add new points for it to track. Anytime you add new points, anytime you come to add a new point here, always look for the things that are not added, right? Then the tedious work is to use this brush to now do it frame by frame. That's why it's not good to select subjects for a long time. You understand? You just look for specific things, specific places you want to use the effect, and just add those effects. And most times, this is why most persons use green screen. If it's a green screen, we can easily select our subject because it's a green screen. You understand? If you're going to do an effect that has transparency for a longer period of time, use a green screen or a blue screen. I don't know if you understand.
Yeah, we always do that.
Okay, awesome. Okay, then if we are satisfied with our tracking, if we are satisfied with what we have already, we can now let's stop it here. Remember, we said we are not going to see our transparency effect until we add what? An alpha output. We can now drag this and link it up here. When we go into our edit page, voila, you see that we don't have a background anymore. So if I bring this one now up, what happened? Okay, it's not every part that we did our yes, it's not every part the effect. I was so shocked at what's going on here. Okay, yeah, so you see this part now was selected.
Money is not the only form of currency.
So this is how we do all those effects. You get? all those effects. All right. So,
Famous style.
sorry, you said?
I'm just curious. This famous Alex style. I'm curious how it is being done.
Sorry. I can't hear you.
Hey, you.
This is what's going to happen. Let me call you on WhatsApp.
Famous Alex style. I'm curious how
Famous what?
famous was Alex style. Just an Alex style that is being done. Where it's more like in the box.
Okay.
Okay.
We're going to do that.
So I don't know. We're going to do that. Very famous style of it now.
Yeah, we're going to do that.
Yeah, we're going to do that.
Yeah, I'll show you how that is done.
Yeah,
I'll show you how that is done. It's just using the same tools that we've been talking about since. You understand? Yeah, it's just using all the tools that we've been talking about since. There's how to, like, you just clip, put yourself in a circle, put yourself in a box, all those kind of stuff. Yeah, I'll show you how to do that. But the advanced way is in Fusion page, and remember we are running from Fusion. Yeah, we are running from Fusion. So, but I'll just show you like a small tip on how to do all those things when we're now going to editing proper. Okay, so we've come to the end of today's class. We still have some tools to look at. It's not every tool we look at here, but we still look at some tools. I think for this color page, we'll have to look at all the ones I use. Look at all the tools that I use, right, in this page. Then we'll also look at keyframes. We still have keyframes here, where you can now keyframe the whole effect and everything that you are doing. All right. We still have a lot to cover. After this, we'll now move into, after we look at all the tools, we'll now move into the color grading proper. I'll show you the color transformation and all of that. The moment you get it once, you will just use it again and again. You just save it as a power grade, and just be using it and be building and correcting. And if you build one, you correct it, you can now save that particular one. Understand? Just like that. So thank you for your time. I really appreciate. You're welcome. Have a wonderful day. Bye.